I helped this small content creator go from 15K all the way up to $100,000 per month. He had less than 5,000 subscribers when we even started working with him. And in this video, I'm going to document the 5 things that we did. So offer, paid ads, customer journey, sales team, and scaling. I have this massive Miro board filled out. I'm just going to completely pull back the curtains on everything we did because there's a lot of stuff in here that I've never heard anyone else talk about. So grab a drink, get comfortable, grab a snack, whatever you need to do. Starting with offers. So the secret to offers is that you need to forget about fulfillment when you start building your offer. You need to completely throw that out the window. Just get into your customer's shoes, imagine that hypothetical extreme, and then later down the road, we can figure out how we're going to streamline it. So why is this even important? A 10 out of 10 offer can get you a 100% close rate on sales calls, even with a mediocre closer. Alex Hormozi on a recent podcast, he's made $100 million in 3 days. He's the biggest launch of all time in the book launch space. And he was saying that offer's king. So he is trying to remind himself 36 years into life, 20 years into business or whatever it is, that offers are king. So you should probably believe it. When we're building out our offers, this is the sheet that we look at. So I'm just going to break down every single part of this, but this will be hyper specific to your ICP. It'll be perfectly solving their problem, excuses, and reversing the risk. So there's absolutely no reason for them to say no to the offer. You're literally making it a grand slam offer. Now, it's very important that you don't just look at other offers and cherry pick their stuff. You need to get creative and think about what you want in your offers. So oftentimes strong components are offers that you can tailor towards your ICP, done for you aspects, one-on-one mentoring, any type of software, and any type of mastermind as well. So remember, completely forget about fulfillment for a second. Just focus on these. Now, when we're figuring out bonuses, we want to think about every single excuse that the prospect has and then solve it with a bonus. So an example would be like, sure, this offer is great, but I wouldn't be able to make 10K a month without proven products. Bang, 10 times weekly certified products. Now, when you're figuring out your guarantee, there's 3 types of guarantees. There's limited risk, no risk, and risk reversal. So we work with you for free until you do. Eventually they'll get there. No risk means complete refund. So if they don't do it, then you'll completely reverse that risk for them. And then risk reversals will give you a refund, and to make up for it, will hop on a one-to-one call, send you $3,000, whatever. Obviously, this is in terms of weakest to strongest, but you can use this one and it'll still work very, very well. Now, when you're figuring out scarcity, there's 2 main ways to do it. One is with spots, second is with a bonus. So spots, obviously, it's just downright open 5 to 20 spots. For a bonus, you limit a specific bonus. So if you're doing a one-to-one call, only the first 20 people who join get this one-to-one call. And this is also really, really good for low ticket. When you're figuring out your urgency, there's 4 main types of urgency. There's obviously more than this, but 1, closing doors, no longer going to allow applicants after a certain date. 2, price, so if the price is increasing. 3, opportunity, so it's more indirect, but it's just the idea that the market is increasing, jobs are getting replaced, they're falling behind. And then 4th is product, so something within the product, such as the next meetup is in a week. If they don't join now, then they're going to have to wait another 3 months to get on that meetup. Good marketers use a sense of urgency. Great marketers use multiple, so make sure that you're tying in as many as possible. So this is our offer stack. We had 3 offers. We had a core offer, a downsell, and an upsell. So I'm just going to go over our core offer. So I'm not going to go over it in depth, but the strongest components was software, the urgency, the guarantee. People loved this guarantee. You can see how you can have a weaker guarantee, but it'll still work really well. The downsell was just the software. And then our upsell, this offer cooked. All right, so we had weekly one-to-one calls, mastermind group chat, 4 weekly coaching calls. We had talent placement, so that's where we would put talent in their business, like UGC creators, private suppliers. Only 10 spots per week, lots of urgency, same guarantee, but a little bit stronger. Now moving on, meta ads. So how they work, since Andromeda hyper niches are going to be working best, the ad will spend some of your budget trying to find the people that resonate and then optimize from there. Eventually that audience will dry out, but gone are the days where you could do 5 hooks, 3 bodies, 3 CTAs and have 45 ads. I think that math is right there. Now it's best to just create like 20 unique creatives that are fully unique throughout. So talking about the creatives, we will script 25 to 50 video ads. We're only focused on direct response initially, and most of our attention is going into the hook and the messaging. So when we're scripting out our ads, this is how we're sending it to our clients so that they fully understand what we're trying to get at with the ad. But let's talk about the hook. So the hook is still the most important part, and it needs to appeal directly to one type of person. So you need to have a hyper niche person. So maybe someone who is struggling with this core feature of your product. So they're struggling with how to find good sneakers when they're sneaker reselling, or they're struggling with having a lot of inventory that never gets sold, and they're 25 to 50. You get what I'm saying? Hyper niche audiences. So these are just a few hooks to hopefully get your brain going. So call out hooks if you're 20 to 30 and you still have $0. So this one's direct, calling out your target audience. Indirect is one of them that we use a lot. I used to have to DoorDash just to get by. That's obviously going to appeal to DoorDashers. Curiosity, this might be the last time I ever do this. Value, here's how I made $103,000 a month with only 8,000 subscribers. Pattern interrupt. If you think dropshipping is hard, I hate to break it to you, but you're right. It's obviously interrupting a pattern there. Authority hook. You've seen the success and you've seen what the success has gotten me. This one also worked really, really well for us. Now, messaging. The ads need to continue to appeal to that audience, that specific target avatar, throughout the entire video. All of it. So this obviously means that you need to have an incredible understanding of your prospect, but you need congruency throughout. So this is how long the hook is. Usually this is how long the body is in the CTA. All of this needs to appeal to that one target avatar, which is why it's better to make 20 unique creatives that just appeal to the one person that you're targeting. So yeah, it should take them directly. It should take them through the sales process as well. So this is what I ask myself when we're making ads. What stage of awareness are they in? What do they actually want? What are their problems? What limiting beliefs do they have? What questions do they have? And if you can solve any of these in your ads are doing good. Now let's talk about the setup. So it's not as important as creatives, but it absolutely needs to be done right either way. So there's 3 types of audiences: cold, lukewarm, and warm. For cold audiences, you just publish the ad. You probably use broad audience because Meta's pretty good at figuring that out for you, and you only target the major countries. With lukewarm, you want to make lookalike audiences. I didn't know this existed for a long time, actually, but you can have a list of 100 people that took an action on your page and give it to Meta, and they'll go find people who are similar to those 100 people. And then warm is obviously just retargeting ads. So this is what we look at. We look at page views, funnel views, applications, previous calls, and previous buyers, and we make retargeting lists and lookalike audiences from those. Now you want to let the campaign spend. If an ad spends 2 times your target cost to acquire a customer, then cut the ad. So if you want to spend about $2,000 to acquire a customer because your product is $3,000, then spend at least probably $3,000 to $4,000 on a campaign before you start cutting things out. Now you want to optimize for the target goal, obviously, and you want to set up custom metrics. Now, obviously this one's pretty obvious. This is only for people who are like just getting into Meta. And then campaigns optimize. So the longer your campaign runs, the better and better it's going to get at optimizing for that goal. Now, sometimes campaigns can get messed up and then you will have to restart and you will have to make a new campaign, but at every cost, try not to restart your campaign. Now we're going to get into the customer journey. There's a lot of sauce that I leaked here, so pay attention. You want to fill as many holes in your bucket as possible. So the first things first is they see an ad or a video, and then they go to the funnel. Now, if they don't opt in, they get put into a retargeting campaign to opt in. But after that, ignore this, there should be an arrow here. They opt into the webinar. So we split test the hell out of the funnel. We split test VSLs, headlines, sometimes pictures. We split test offers, structures, so like how the funnel looks, and mechanisms. So mechanisms, just like how a product should have a unique mechanism, a webinar should also have a unique mechanism. So think about how a new opportunity is better than improvement every single time. You should always have a unique mechanism on your webinar. You can come up with one on the spot. It doesn't have to be something insane, but examples would be flash branding. This is one that we used before. Freelance brand scaling, AI copywriting, and keto diet. Even if it doesn't align with your product, like this one was an e-commerce product, notice how it's not a completely new opportunity. It's just a new way to brand a store. You know, it just sounds cool, so you need some sort of unique mechanism. Now look, Sales 301 is creating an alternate reality for your prospect so that you have alignment and congruency throughout your entire offer. So we'll come up with some sort of angle, some sort of brand, anything that's memorable that elevates it beyond just a funnel. So examples would be like stoicism. If you're doing a challenge, if you're doing like new age, like this is the new way to go about things, we'll be using the word new a lot. If you're going like AI/techie, maybe we'll make the colors like blue and whatnot. So hopefully that makes sense. Moving on, the post confirmation page. So after they opt into the webinar, 5 goals with this. First, give them a video. Second, have them check their inbox. Third, have them add it to their calendar, join the group chat, and dive into the ecosystem. So the video, every good book starts with why you should read that book. So we'll give them some sort of dopamine and congratulate them for opting into the webinar, and then reinforce why it's so important to actually show up to it. So Incentives for just showing up. This is what we like to do. We like to do a giveaway. We like to do a free resource. And then we like to get creative. So one of them would be like donating to charity. We'll donate $1 to charity for every single person that shows up, or we'll donate a free meal to someone in need for every single person that shows up. Great incentive. Now you also want them to check their inbox. So immediately after they opt in, we're going to send them an email to further enforce our goals and get them to reply for better deliverability. We'll send them 3 opt-in emails, one the second they opt in, 5 minutes after, and then another 20 minutes after. Also, feel like getting unique with the sender names. Get comfortable with this. You can do more than just from creator name. You can do me, comma, creator name, which makes them think it's in a thread. You can have the name of the creator's personal assistant. You can have the name of one of the head coaches in the group. You can get creative with sender names, and for some reason, no one does it. So this is how we structure the email. Welcome to the webinar. We give them context on what the webinar is going to do, what they're going to learn from it, incentives for showing up, and then just, again, get them to join the group, add it to the calendar, and reply to the email. Now the calendar and the group chat, these are for more touch points and reminders to the prospect because, again, we want to try really hard to get them to show. So we'll have some sort of Telegram or in most cases a WhatsApp group. So we'll have our own set of WhatsApp reminders consisting of videos and images where we can enforce more of our pre-webinar goals, which I'll talk about in a second. And then we also want to encourage them to dive into the ecosystem. So get them to watch some of the YouTube videos and get into the content flywheel. Now, after the post confirmation page, we have retargeting ads. So we hit them with retargeting ads. We literally spend money on our leads for them to see more ads. We have SMS reminders, and then we send them either 12 to 15 emails until the day of the webinar. So the emails are going to be dynamic to when they opt in. So if they opt in a long time before, they'll probably only get 2 emails a day. If they opt in like 2 days before, they'll get like 6 emails a day. Now, these are pure value, and we like to use a lot of stories in our copywriting as well. But the pre-webinar goals, so these are all the stuff that we want to happen before the webinar that we want to handle in our reminders, SMS, and our emails, and our ads, all of that type of stuff, on top of just reminding them that it's happening. So we want to answer major blocking questions that are going to stop them from coming up to the webinar. So like, if he's so successful with this, why is he selling a course? He's scamming, I don't want to come. We want to address the incentives that we talked about earlier, address every reason why it's going to be valuable, because some reasons are going to click for other people, and all people need is just one reason for them to mentally commit to showing up to the webinar. Encourage them to invite a friend, and then implant the proper beliefs and mindset for them to actually sit through the webinar, get value out of it, and eventually end up booking a call. Now, on the day of the webinar, we'll have a pre-webinar video. We'll use lots of urgency and scarcity to get people to show up, and setters will dial every single registrant. Just go through like, hey, the webinar's later today. Are you showing up? Awesome. Just wanted to make sure that you got the link. It's a big mishap, so we just want to make sure that you aren't experiencing any technical issues. Go from there. Now, the webinar presentation, the overall structure is hook, value, transition, pitch, and Q&A. I can make a whole video on this if you want me to. Just let me know in the comments. But if they don't show, we're going to promote the replay with hella urgency. So we're going to do that in our emails, in our SMS, in our WhatsApp, and with our dialers. But at the end of the webinar presentation, we'll ask them to book a call. If they don't book a call, then we'll promote that with hella urgency, with dialers, emails, and SMS. And at this end of all of this, if they still don't book a call, then we will run a pop-up webinar 2 days after. So let's say that the webinar is on Saturday. We'll run a pop-up event on Monday. So we're going to promote to everyone being like, hey, we're running it back. It's going to be 50% pitch, and then the extra 50% is going to be just Q&A. So that'll get a lot of people on the phone. Now, after they book a call, we have a confirmation page. So on the confirmation page, we have a video, which we just try to make the sales process happen in that video, make it as fast as possible. We want to talk about the offer, the features, and everything they get. I can go more in depth on the sales page or the confirmation page because there is more. Like, we have breakout videos, we have testimonials, we have case studies, but most of that most people already know. You can literally opt into every funnel and see that in process. And then we have a pre-call sales process. So one major thing that most people don't talk about is if they see any antitrust assets, you're cooked. So what I mean is if they see a bad review on Reddit or anything like that, you're cooked. You need to make sure that there aren't any of those out there. So the pre-call sales process will have more retargeting ads. We'll have a setter reach out. We'll send them 4 to 6 emails per day, SMS reminders, and then we'll send them our own trust and sales assets. So all of this happens after they book a call. Again, anti-assets will cook your metrics. So the pre-call goals, same as the pre-webinar goals, the pre-call goals is we want to handle the education so that the call is purely decision-making, not education-based. We want to answer any limiting questions. We want to break limiting beliefs, understand and value the offer, features, urgency, scarcity, guarantee, and all. Build lots and lots of goodwill. And then also we want them to have trust in the creator, the vehicle, and themselves so that they're ready to make a decision. All of that leads to the sales call. And this is how we get 35% of our registrations, approximately. Might have been closer to 30%. But this is how we got about 30% of our registrants to fill out an application for our program. If none of this works, then don't worry. We'll run another webinar every 1 to 2 months, and then we can just remarket to all of these leads that didn't buy on the sales call and get them back onto the webinar. Now, the sales team. If this isn't dialed in, quite simply, you will make 0 buckaroos. So we had 3 setters, 2 closers, and an SDR. So the SDR would triage and confirm every single appointment. So everyone who booked their own call will have this guy go through, do the process. They'll put them in a group chat with the closers, send them the sales assets and trust assets, all of that sort of jazz. We'll have 2 closers. They'll have the KPI is 40% close rate with 2.8K average order value. And then we'll have 3 setters with KPIs of 10% pickup rate, 75% qualified to booked call rate, and 80% show rate of those calls. So we'll have these setters dial 4 leads: the people who booked but didn't show up to their call, the people who applied but didn't book a call, the people who showed up to the webinar but didn't apply, and the people who registered for the webinar but didn't show up, in order of importance as well. Now look, KPIs are stupid important. You need to know your numbers beforehand so you know whether something is broken or if you're ready to scale. So before you even hire the sales team, come up with the KPIs, what numbers need to be true, and then you know that if your numbers are falling short, then something is broken and there's something that you need to fix. Also, make sure that you don't over or under hire. The golden rule of thumb is 70 to 80% of your closers' calendars should be full. Now, if it's completely full, then they're not going to have time to do follow-ups, review their calls, all of that type of jazz. So you want it to be about 70 to 80% full. So that way they also value their leads as well. Now, this is how we handled our culture. It was all held on Slack. Major things: we had minor competitive and performative incentives. We had beginning of day and end of day huddles, end of day forums. It wasn't a completely serious group. We were joking around a lot. Now, we gave appreciation for every single win, and everyone is responsible for the company's growth, so help each other out. We made sure that we enforced that idea. So the incentives we had for the closer: if they're hitting KPIs, they get 11% commissions instead of 10%. If they hit a certain goal, then they'll get a $1,000 cash bonus, so maybe like they collect 50K. If they're a setter, if they're hitting KPIs, they get 5.5% instead of 5%. And if they hit, let's say, 1,000 or 10,000 dials, then they get $500 cash bonus. Now, you have to make sure that these aren't too competitive, or else your team will start sacrificing each other's growth just for the sake of the bonus, and you definitely don't want that to happen. Now, in the end of day forms, we'll get in-depth feedback on the lead quality, and in the beginning and end of day huddles, we'll review performance, we'll set goals for tomorrow or the rest of the day, and we'll look at who needs help and direct people to help them out. This is from Charles Schwab. The way to bring what's best in people is encouragement and appraisal. So make sure that you're doing both of those. Now, to hiring. This is one of the most important parts. Hiring is very similar to converting leads, and you should treat it the same. Hiring is literally its own business. So this is where we look for talent. We look on Facebook and other communities, LinkedIn and other ads, sales agencies. We get referrals, occasionally outreach, and then also occasionally organic content. So ads and community posts, you would be surprised by what you'll come across. I've came across like $1 million a month closers who close like $1 billion companies, have closed people like Tony Robbins, and have worked for just like $10 million a month info businesses from LinkedIn ads. So there's a lot of potential there. Outreach, many sales rep have socials. Just reach out to them, very normal. Referrals, your sales reps know many other sales reps. Plus, the best sales reps are the ones who have friends within the business. Now, you could curate that, you could make that happen, but it's just faster to just get their friends on, right? And so if you can get referrals, I would. Content, obviously posting on your socials as the marketer or the operator or whatever you are, is going to attract some sales reps. Occasionally you could do it on the content creators' socials as well. Depends on how cool they are with their audience. And the hard thing is though, if you're not an authority, you're not going to attract top talent, like the best of the best. Now, agencies usually charge $500 per setter and $1,000 per closer. But these are usually the best closers and the best sales reps that I've ever worked with, and it's the fastest way. Now, when you are trying to get this talent, people want to know these things, so just assume that they want to know this already. They want to know how much they're going to make, which is OTE. I think it's on-time earnings or on-target earnings. The previous monthly cash collected in the business, the niche, who is the offer owner, the target avatar, the lead quality, and the lead volume. Now, training and managing. If you don't do this right, your team's going to fall apart. So whenever we get a new rep, we have them research the offer and the process. We hop on a call to answer all of their questions. We run mock calls until they're ready to do their own calls. And then we place it with low volume. Now we do feedback calls every few days until they're completely dialed in. And then when they are dialed in, we'll do weekly check-in calls. So When they research the offer in the process, they need to understand where they fit, like how the business is making money because of them, what the offer is, who is the target avatar, what is the customer journey, and what is the offer owner's story. When we're doing mocks, we'll basically tweak the mocks. We'll keep doing the mocks and we'll tweak it again and again and again until it fits our offer perfectly. And you want to make sure that the environment is as similar to the real environment as possible. So if you're doing dialing, literally have them call you and then be like, hello, don't do a Zoom call. Now, feedback calls. To deliver feedback, make sure you're only delivering one thing at a time. You don't want to overwhelm your team. And always explain why and what the impact will be. Another great quote is the best way to get someone to do something is to get them to want to do it, right? And so that's why you should explain why you're telling them to do the thing. And then also sometimes we'll connect the member to a member of the team who's doing better than them. So that way they can kind of share and see what they're doing differently. Resources we give to our sales team. So we'll have the evolving ICP. We'll have setters and closer scripts that both of them can see so that they both know how it works together in like one solid, streamlined journey. We'll give them an objection handling SOP, if then scenarios. So if lead asks this, then this, a testimonial gallery, sales tracker, and dashboard. We will comfortably share our numbers with them. They should all see the company's total numbers, and then we'll share with them the offer wireframe. So if you're a sales rep, I'm always looking for more salespeople. I don't care how experienced you are, just shoot me a DM on IG and we can go from there. Now, the final thing I'm going to talk about in this video is scaling. So this is the process of going from 10K a month to all the way to $1 million a month. So it mostly consists of just dialing everything in and making it better and better and better so you can simply just do more volume. What this comes down to is data. I can't stress enough how good of a tracking and attribution system you need to have. This is everything that we track. We look at all of this stuff. If you want to pause, feel free, but we look at a lot of stuff and you need to track this stuff to a T so that you can make good decisions in the business. Because if you're hitting KPIs, you can scale. If not, then you need to change. But it's hard when you don't know your numbers and you don't know your KPIs. So let's just say that you are in the ability to scale and all your KPIs are working. The biggest moving levers is putting more ad spend behind your ads, hiring a content team, and hiring a fulfillment team. So ad spend, if ROAS is over 3x, you can put more money behind your ads. Once you hit a wall, you need to learn what to do to get to the next level, of course, because there's always going to be a wall. You're eventually going to get stopped. You can't just keep putting money behind the same ad. Often, though, it just requires better messaging, more creatives, or more split tests of the funnel. Now, with a content team, building a bigger, better organic will obviously grow numbers across the board. Every single number across the board will grow. So we look at how can we improve the creators' content? We look at more platforms, hiring clippers, doing the quality and quantity flywheel, and hiring out these type of people. So editors, strategists, designers, copywriters, etc. So the quality quantity flywheel is basically you want to maximize the quality of your content, figure out how you can maximize the quantity of that. So how can you get to 3 videos a week with that quality? And then be like, okay, what if I put that much time into making the quality of this video better? And then figure out how you can do that 3 times a week. What happens if you take that time into making the quality better? And so that, you just improve from there. Now, the fulfillment team, the less time that the offer owner has to put into the product, the more time they can put into advertising. So this is our hiring plan for our fulfillment team. We first hire coaches, community managers, student success people, so people who just will check up on students and make sure that everything's flowing smoothly, and then a head coach. So this is a head of product, someone that can overlook the entire product and constantly improve it. Usually you'll give these people an equity. They can help hire a team. They can help manage the coaches, etc. That is for big scale. Now, you also want to hire, like I talked about in the sales section, you want to use outreach, content, referrals, and all of that sort of stuff. So this is how we took Ethan from $15K to $103,000 a month. So if you have more questions, just shoot me a DM on Instagram.